Nevada Virtual Academy, here we are. Welcome back, Mr. N, broadcasting from a better room now. I can talk louder, hopefully you can hear me. Here we are, words to equations, algebra 1. You guys should be working right now on quiz 1.11, right? 1.11, and obviously if you're not there, make sure you're completing all the work so far, right? 331 students went on a field trip. 6 buses were filled and 7 students traveled in cars. How many students were in each bus? Well, I didn't, put it here. You have to write an equation to solve this problem first, right? And then solve the equation. And as usual, remember we talked about this in class. When you have a problem to solve, first of all, see, what are you asked to find? And for this problem, we're asked to find how many students were in each bus. Okay? And this is definitely one of our unknowns, one of our missing data. We don't know how many students are in each bus. Okay? And as a start, if you want, you can say, well, let's have B as being the number of students in each bus. And before we move on, if we say that, right, if we say that B is the number of students in each bus, that's supposing that every bus will have the same number of students, right? Good. Well, what else is given to us? They're telling us that there were 331 students that went on that field trip. Okay, so the total number of students going for the trip here is 331. What else is given? Well, they're telling us that there are, hold on, there are 6 buses. Okay, there are 6 buses. We have 6 school buses, I suppose, that were filled. Okay, and out of these 6 buses, or besides, the 6 buses filled with students, we also have 7 students that traveled in cars. Okay, now going back to the 331 students that went on the field trip, how many of them traveled in cars? Well, 7 of them, right? So I definitely know that 7 students went there with their parents' cars or driving their own cars. Who knows? If they're high school students, then they will be driving their own cars. Now, the next thing you have to state in here to have an equation will be in an algebraic way. How many students will you have in 6 buses, knowing that we have B students in each bus? And I know you guys got it, right? To write the total number of students traveling to the field trip in the school buses, knowing that I have 6 school buses and B students in each one of them. So if you have your school buses, like that, okay, and you have 6 of them. Let me see if I can make that. Okay, all right, I have 6 of them. Let's make a copy of each one, right? Okay, then I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Do we have 6 of them? Let's see. Well, now they're kind of crowded here, but anyway, let's see. These are your buses. Well, obviously they're kind of overlapping here, but I got 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So obviously I need one more bus. Let's do that, right? And their wheels and everything else is there, right? I got 6 buses with B students in each one of them. the total number of students traveling with those buses, ignoring my, great art skills here, will be B times 6, right? Or 6 buses timed by the number of students in each bus. So besides the 7 students traveling with their parents' cars, I need to add the number of students in the 6 buses, which will be given to me by the product of the 6 and B, right? Because 6 times B will give me how many students travel in buses. And now all of this together will make what? Will make 331. So all of this, students by car, by bus, together should be 331. And this is your equation, and you have to solve it to find how many students you have in each bus, because that's the question of the problem, right? And to solve that, I have 7 plus 6b equals 331. Okay, first step, I'm going to subtract, I'm going to take away all the students that travel in cars. And there are 7 of them. And I'm going to take that away from both sides. And I have on the left 7 minus 7, which is 7. You will be left with the number of students in 6 buses. And that should equal 331 minus the 7 who went by cars, right? The 7 students who travel by cars. 7 out of 331 will give you what? 320 what? 24. Okay? What should we do next? Well, the question is how many students in each bus? B represents the number of students in each bus. And to find that, because I have 6 of them and I need only 1 of them, I will divide that by 6, right? So 6 divided by 6 is 1. The number of students in each bus, B, will be 324 divided by 6. Now 6 goes in 30 5 times. 5 times 6 is 30. 30 out of 32 here, right? Will leave you 2. You bring down the next digit. 6 goes in 24 4 times. And here we are. The number of students in each bus that went to that field trip is 54. Okay? And it took me a while to explain it, but I wanted to make sure that everybody understands, what are the steps we took, and what could be the strategy to solve a problem like that. We'll try one more. Okay? The sum of 3 consecutive even numbers is 48. What are the smallest of these numbers? Now be careful, because in class we solved a problem involving consecutive numbers. And you guys remember that we said, consecutive means one after the other. If I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, these are consecutive numbers. However, we were talking about a general, in algebra, using, let's say, a variable for the smallest one of these numbers, the next number, the consecutive number after C, will be C plus 1. The next one, consecutive, will be C plus 2. Okay? And you guys were fine when we solved that problem. You figured it out that, if the sum of these 3 numbers was whatever number, to find one, you just solve that equation. However, be careful, because in this problem they said 3 consecutive even numbers. Okay? And if you're looking at my example here with the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, let's go with 6, 7, and 8, right? And if I'm looking for 3 consecutive even numbers, first of all, you should check all your even numbers. Even is 2, there is 4, there is 6, there is 8 in the series that I just gave you here, right? And now if you check what it takes to move from one number to its consecutive even one, right, to the next consecutive even number, you do what? From 2 to 4, you need to add 2 units. From 4 to 6, you need to add 2 units. From 6 to 8, you need to add 2 units, right? So if one, and let's call it, my first smallest number, it looks like my computer's got a bit of lagging here. Okay, if the first number is, let's call it x. What is the next consecutive even number after x? What should you add? You should add 2, right? So if the first one is x, the next one will be x plus 2. Bless you. Okay, now I can go with the next one, claiming it to be x plus 2 plus 2, which will be x plus 4. But I'm gonna perform a little bit of magic here. You know, math has lots of magic in it. And what I'm gonna do is I will suppose that my x here is the one in the middle. I mean, look at your 4 here. What is the number that's right before 4 that's also even? That would be 2, right? To move from 4 back to your 2 number, I need to take away 2. So I will say if the middle number is x, the one that was right before x and even was x minus 2. Okay? So, you know, if any one of you will go with, let's say, using y, and you have y plus 2 and you have y plus 4, right? The 3 consecutive even numbers, you're going to be fine with that also. But for me, I'd use this one because it will make my life easier. What it says, what is the problem saying? The sum. What or operation is the sum implying? The sum, to translate it in algebra, it means it is equal to addition, right? So the sum of 3 consecutive numbers. So what I have to do here is to take my first number, x minus 2, add the second number to it, and add the third number to it, right? And their sum is what? Their sum is, that is actually our symbol equal, right? 48. But we're adding here, and there is no need for parentheses. Those parentheses, I use them only to show you, you know, all 3 numbers here. I'm going to remove the parentheses. So basically my equation here is x minus 2 plus x plus 2 equals 48. Because I want to solve this equation, I need to combine my like terms, and I need to simplify it in whichever ways I can, such that on the left side, I will have only x's, right? So let's go with x first. I'm looking for like terms. X. Well, x plus x makes 3 x's. Okay? What's next? Well, I got minus 2 plus 2, and they're canceling out. So basically on your left side, you will have only 3x. Then you bring down the equal sign, equals, and on the right, I have 48. Now, can you solve this equation? If 3 times something equals 48, how can you find that something? Anybody? Yes, that's it. You have to divide by 3. And I'm going to divide each side by 3. This will tell me that my x equals a third of 48, which is what? 16. If you don't believe me, go ahead, divide it. 3 goes in 4 once. 3 times 3, 1 times 3 is 3 out of 4, 1. 3 goes in 18 6 times. Your x is 16. Okay? Now, your x is the one in the middle. But the question says, what are the smallest of these numbers? I mean, it doesn't make sense. What are the smallest? What is the smallest? Okay, it should be what is the smallest of these numbers. And the smallest number is x minus 2, right? So be careful. Your x, your 16, is actually the one in the middle, the way we set up the problem. Because the one in the middle is 16. The one that's the smallest one is 2 units less. And that will give you the answer. The answer to this problem is going to be 16 minus 2, right? 16 minus 2. And that equals 14. And the answer to this problem, you are supposed to solve it, right, will not be 16, but 14. And I just show you one way to solve it. Once again, if you choose to go with this way, setting your small number as y, the next one y plus 2, the next one y plus 4, then you will be able to solve for y and basically find that your y is also 14. Okay, one more problem. Okay, problem number 10 says here, it's our third problem for this video lesson here. How old am I if 400 reduced by 2 times my age is 244. Huh? Some will say, what are you talking about? Well, let's figure it out. The question is, how old am I? And that's what I don't know, and I can mark it down with a variable. Let's use X for it. You can say O, you can say Y, it really doesn't matter. My problem just disappeared. Okay, how old am I if 400 reduced by 2 times my age? So let's go one step at a time here. How can you guys write 400 reduced? Reduced means you take away from it, right? So I can write it by as 400 minus, right? Minus something. And that something is given to you in the next part of your sentence. By 2 times my age. Okay, hold on, because I'm going too far. By 2 times my age. And actually, I'm still going too far. 2 times my age, I should stop right there. Reduced by 2 times my age. Well, my age is what? Is how old am I? My age will be X. So 400 reduced, 400 minus, right? 400 minus 2 times, we know times stands for multiplication, 2 times, right? My age we established, we use the variable X, minus 2X. So 400 minus 2X is, what we said is in algebra would be substituted by equal, is what? Is 244. Thank you very much. And this is your equation. If you solve this equation, you will be able to find how old am I. Well, let's do that. Okay. I will use black. 400 minus 2x equals 244. What should we do? Well, we have to find x. Now there are many ways. The way I prefer here will be to move my x's on the right side. How can I do that? I will add 2x to both sides. 400, I'm going column by column. 400, there is nothing here, right? Will be 400 minus 2x plus 2x is nothing. Bring down the equal sign. Equals 244 plus 2x. What should we do next? We should take away 244, right? Take away 244. 400 minus 244, go right to left. 4 out of 10. Borrow 1 from the next one, right? 4 out of 10 is going to be 6. 4 out of 9, right, will be 5. And 2 out of 3 here will be 1. 156 equals 2 times my age. Did we get it right? To find my age, because 2 times my age is 156, you will divide everything by 2, and you will have what? 156 divided by 2. 2 goes in 15 7 times. 2 times 7, 14. Out of 15, 1. You bring down the next digit, right? 2 goes in 16 8 times. 2 divided by 2, 1. How old am I? You're 78. You're quite old, right? Or if you're 80 years old, you're going to say, oh, that's a young guy. 78 will be the answer here. And obviously, you could have solved this problem in many other ways. I mean, just looking here, 400 minus 2x, 244, tells me that I can divide every one of these terms by 2, right? And you will have 400 divided by 2 minus 2x divided by 2 equals 244 divided by 2. And as I said, guys, each one of these numbers and expressions with variables will be your terms, right? And if you guys remember, if you have a variable like that, 2x, right? Or an expression, a term like that, I'm sorry. Your x your x will be your variable, right? That's the variable. Your 2 is going to be your, let's use a different color for that. 2 is actually your coefficient. You will have some questions in your test about that. Coefficient, right? That's your 2 right there. Variable is your x, is the unknown, is the letter. Together they will form a term. There will be a term. And 400 is actually your constant. It's a constant number that doesn't change. Will stay 400 no matter what. Well, unless we're doing some operations here, like we're dividing by 2, but it's still a constant, right? Okay? These are ways to solve this problem. Obviously here you can move on and, you know, divide 400 by 2. That will be 200 minus 2 divided by 2 is 1 minus x equals 244 divided by 2, 122. And you have to solve this equation by all the known ways, whichever way you like. You will still get 78. If you don't believe me, check. 200 minus 78 better be 122, right? Or 122 plus 78 better be 100. And it is. So we're done. Let's try another one. Looks like I skipped the problem here. 5. You bought a magazine for $5 and 4 erasers. You spent a total of $25. How much did each eraser cost, right? So, as usual, you have to establish, you know, facts and variables or unknowns, right? How much did each eraser cost? And nobody's telling me that. So I can say, well, let's use E as being the cost of an eraser, right? Okay. So you bought a magazine for $5 and 4 erasers. You bought a magazine for $5. Okay, so that's your first cost, right? The first amount spent, $5. That's a constant, we know was $5. And 4 erasers, 4 erasers, right? And could be substituted in our equation by plus, right? You have $5 plus whatever you pay for the 4 erasers, so plus. And how can I write that as an algebraic statement? 4 erasers cost will be 4 times the cost of 1 eraser, right? And together you spent, I mean, for all this stuff, you spent how much money? $25. So if I'm adding my $5 for the magazine plus the cost of 4 erasers, that should give me $25. And this will be the equation for the given problem. To solve it, you can take off the $5 you pay for the magazine, and whatever is left is the cost of your 4 erasers, right? 25 minus 5 is 20. Now to find how much you pay for 1 eraser, they're kind of expensive. They're probably the fancy one with the flavors and things, right? And colorful and whatever. Divide each side by 4, you have the cost of an eraser being 20 divided by 4, and that would be $5. Like I said, pretty expensive, but this is you know, one way in which you can solve the problem. Obviously you can use a different variable for the cost of an eraser. It really doesn't matter as long as you're you know, consistent and you're following all the steps. That's it. One more. Alaya had, I hope I'm pronouncing it right, had some candy to give to her 4 children. She first took 10 pieces for herself and then evenly divided the rest among her children. Each child received 2 pieces. With how many pieces did she start? Okay, so it seems that for this problem we need to find out what was the number of, you know, the number of pieces of candies that Alaya started with. It looks like my my tablet here is having a, you know, a breakdown probably because it doesn't want to write anything anymore. How should we start solving this problem? I cannot write, so probably we have to stop here, everybody. Okay, so how many pieces did she start, right? With how many pieces did she start? And we can call that, I don't know, X, C, Y, W. You can say, okay, the number of pieces that Alaya had, right? That's some candy thing. Let's call it X. Okay. So what is the problem telling me? That she first took 10 pieces, 10 candies for herself. How can I write that? Well, I'm going to say X, 10 less of that, right? X minus 10. And then evenly divided the rest. So whatever this thing, whatever was left there in the number of candies, she evenly divided that among her children, right? So guys, what was left? Was left X minus 10 candies. She evenly divided the rest among her children. Okay? Well, the problem is telling us that Alaya has 4 children, right? So to evenly divide whatever is left out of your candies after you take 10 away will be X minus 10, because X is the initial number of candies. You take 10 away from it and you break that by 4. You break in 4 equal quantities, which the problem is telling us they were actually representing 2 candies. So after, when you took the 10 off, you divided that by the 4 children. Each children gets 2, and this is our equation. It looks strange, looks different than the previous ones, but that's the way to go, right? And we need to find X. We need to find the number of candies that Alaya started with. To find that, I'm going to multiply everything by 4 to find out how many candies were there after she took 10 candies, right? So I will have 4 times X minus 10 over 4. And on the other side, I have 4 times 2, right? Now, what do you see here? 4 and 4 will cancel out. X minus 10 equals 8. And now to find how many pieces she has in the beginning, I will just put those 10 candies back. In algebra, we're adding 10 to both sides. The number of candies that were initially there will be 8 plus 10, and that will be 18. And we are done. Okay? And this is it for today. Please keep working forward, and I will see you guys in class tomorrow. Thank you.